And I'm Matt.
So, how was your guys' week this week, Matt? You want to start us off?
Yeah, sure. My week was, I don't know, kind of standard. I got back into fighting games a bit more recently.
Nice.
Oh, nice. Like what?
Specifically Skull Girls.
Yeah.
Skull, Skull, Willow. But yeah, I just randomly decided. I've been watching a bunch of YouTuber Maximilian Dude. He does a ton of fighting game stuff. He's really good at everything. And I decided, I'll pick up another fighting game. And that's the only one that I have online access to right now. So I picked a character, tried that, got blown the fuck up as soon as I touched online.
Nice. That's to know how it is with fighting games. I mean,
Well, you have to go into fighting games with the mindset of I want to learn what I'm doing, not I want to win.
yeah.
Exactly. Especially at the beginning.
Yeah. I'm terrible at fighting games anyway, so I avoid online at all costs.
Well, and
I
we've
got
brought this up
destroyed.
in the past. There's only ever been one fighting game I was any good at, and that was back in like early 2000s.
Yeah. Well, the new Guilty Gear's got a lot of cool stuff going for it, so you should check it out sometime.
Yeah, I need to.
Because I know that's what you're
pretty
talking
cool.
about. Yeah. Other than that, the weekly anime thing that I did, because, hey, guess what? I watch a bunch of that shit in my free time. I watched Yatterman Night, which was pretty good. It's a kind of a sequel, 40-year anniversary sort of thing to the original Yatterman series, which I never watched, but that was fun. And I checked out the movie Perfect Blue, which is really trippy and creepy. It's about this this singer who wants to become an actress, and then pretty much everything just starts getting really screwy. She's got a stalker. Somebody's trying to kill her or the people around her. It's pretty crazy. I liked it a lot, though.
Nice. I'll have to check that one out.
Yeah.
that
And
sounds
other than that,
interesting.
I've been watching a show on and off. It's kind of underground. I don't know if you guys have heard of the Olympics. In this thing the past couple weeks.
So
And
did
when
you
he
hear
says-
Ryan Lochte and Hillary Clinton both got shot at in Benghazi?
No, but that wouldn't surprise
Okay,
me.
no, we're not getting
And
political.
Ryan Williams
Anthony.
is there with it.
Stop this. We're not getting political. Stop it. Stop it. Yes, Ryan Lochte, we all know.
There's the door, Anthony. Who's it?
We all know Ryan Lochte fabricated some stuff about some stuff that happened, but beyond that, we haven't really talked about it much. So let's take a few seconds to kind of talk about this. The Olympics in Rio have been completely fucked. They've asked multiple judges from the boxing competition to leave because it was so corrupt. There's been the Chinese basketball team was caught in a shootout on the side of the road on the way to the Olympics. The Olympic
The
Village,
Russian team wasn't even allowed in.
but that's a different story.
I'm just
Then the Olympic Village wasn't even finished. So, like, shitty things were happening there. There's just been so many things. And, of course, the water turning green. And they're like, oh, it's just algae, which is what the chlorine is supposed to fix. And then, people's hair is turning blue and green and all these different colors because there's so much chlorine in the water, which is supposed to prevent the algae. So there's just a lot of issues with facilities, a lot of issues with Rio. I'm sorry, but
I think that's just the mutant gene. I think we're seeing the rise of Homo superior. It's
these
about time.
these games should have been canceled long ago. There's too many health issues, too many safety issues.
And that's the other thing. So, like, the Olympics, I feel, are kind of starting to become a thing of the past. It's one of those, like, I get why people get amped for them. I get why it's a big deal. But it seems like every year there's some sort of, like, major controversy around the Olympics. There's all sorts of stuff, like, that people just don't want to be associated with.
Well, I don't think it's necessarily.
I think
they're
it's just
becoming
more media coverage.
Yeah,
is able
there's
to pick
a
up
lot-
on
that's
it now.
definitely true.
We're a lot
but-
more connected. I mean, you figure every 4 years for the summer, 4 years, we obviously alternate 2 years between the two different Olympic Games.
Right.
But we're way more connected than we have been, and we continue to be more connected. So we know more of the things that are going on. But I wouldn't say they're a thing of the past. The biggest issue is NBC. I'm looking at you, shitty Olympic coverage, which is a big issue. And don't even get me started on the shitty opening ceremony. I mean, thank God we have
I
Japan
missed that, but I
to
heard it
look
wasn't
forward
great.
to. Yeah, we have Japan to look forward to for 2020 games. But Rio has not done a great job hosting the Olympics. I'm just going to say that. Anyone that disagrees with that, go ahead. But they just have not done a great job. And then the other issue.
Oh, man, we're feisty tonight.
Yes, we are.
Yes, we
Sorry.
are.
We're a little fired up. So, and then the other issue, when you're just looking at it, NBC has done such a terrible job. Everything's on delay. Their commentators have their heads so far up their asses. I'm surprised they can even see who's in the fucking pool. I'm sorry, but NBC has done a garbage job of covering the Olympics. Their commentators are idiots. They're complete fucking morons. And it's just, I would rather just watch the live streams online that you can find as opposed to anything involving NBC because they're a bunch of fucking morons.
Chris says we're not getting political, and then he goes off on an NBC rant.
That's because they've legitimately done a shitty job of covering these Olympic Games, and I think most people can agree with that.
I will refrain from commenting. But
Yeah,
I'm not agreeing or disagreeing. I'm just saying.
From someone that knows production, they've done a shitty job covering the Olympic Games.
All right.
But anyway, getting off of that rant, yes, great job. The U.S. is killing it in the medal counts. Obviously, Michael Phelps is a fucking merman.
Michael Phelps is the Namor of real life. Usain Bolt is the Flash of real life.
I was going to say, they should have just cast Michael Phelps as Aquaman.
It's crazy. So, my buddy Nate sent me a video the other day just showing the 4x1 that Jamaica won. And you see the first three legs, Jamaica and everyone, like neck and neck, neck and neck. The baton goes to Usain Bolt, and it just looks like he doesn't even look like it's insane. The guy just pulls ahead of everybody with obviously it's effort, but with what looks like no effort. The guy is amazing. He literally just pulls ahead of everyone when it was neck and neck coming off that last leg and just blows everyone out of the water. That guy is, he's the Flash in real life. It's insane.
All right, so actually, hey, kind of interrupting our how was your week thing, let's go ahead and do an Olympics edition of the Justice League.
Okay, let's. Okay,
right.
so
Usain Bolt, the Flash, Aquaman, Michael Phelps.
Yeah.
Right.
I would say.
Can we include Hafthor Bjornsson in here as like Superman?
I was just gonna say because like that would be a good.
Not
one
Olympics, but one of the strongest men in the world.
Man in the
I think he's
world,
the strongest now.
Right?
He deserves it.
Well, let's see. Who would we cast for Batman?
Who's rich?
Michael Phelps.
Michael Phelps, yeah.
No, I don't know if you can really do a Justice League out of the Olympics without really thinking it through because there's a lot.
Yeah,
of
it's definitely something like
So I think that's more of a thinking thing. Maybe we'll put that up on the site. Keep an eye out. Maybe we'll put up our Justice League.
Don't ever want gold in the decathlon? Maybe for Batman, just well rounded.
Yeah, I could see that.
David Blaine is a Tana.
Now we're getting off track.
Yeah. Anyway.
So the Olympics, it's been kind of a mixed bag, but the U.S. has been doing really well. The women's gymnasts have done fantastic.
Women's basketball killed it, from what I've heard.
Yeah, there's a lot of... The U.S. has done really well. They're up by a ton of medals in second place.
Well, and honestly, my only... USA, but the only thing that kind of like sours it a little bit is the fact that Russia really hasn't been competing.
Yeah, and you know, they allowed a few Russian athletes to show up after doing retroactive drug testing and a few other things.
Right.
But yeah, overall, that's been a huge part of where all these medals have gone now. Because Russia is always a big contender, especially in the summer games and the gymnastics and a lot of things.
Usually it's top three is U.S., Russia, and China.
Yeah,
and,
it's pretty crazy.
Now without Russia, it's just kind of like, well, okay, between the U.S. and China, who can gather up the rest of the medals?
And there's
I don't know. I've seen some good mixes in a few of them.
Absolutely. And and it depends on the sport and it depends on the country and all that kind of stuff. But Russia not being there is a very strong impact on Olympic medal counts.
It does very much. So I agree, and I think that
some of their medals were retroactively stripped.
Yeah, they're from China.
The previous one from London?
Did you say from China? Or you mean the Chinese Olympics?
The Chinese Olympics.
So I was going to say China taking them away is hilariously ironic, if that was the case.
Was it the Chinese games or was it the London games?
No, it was I thought it was they retroactively a couple from Beijing.
Oh, did they?
I believe so.
See, that I don't know.
I don't know. It's pretty... Yeah, we'll have to look it up.
I don't know. It's a little bit of a mess right now.
Yeah.
The whole Olympic media thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, anyway, kind of trying to get us a little bit back on course.
So, we're going to actually keep talking about the Olympics for just a minute.
Okay.
Keep going, guys.
Never mind. Anyway. Yeah, no, so I don't know. Like, the Olympics is one of those... Even, like, the decision of what sports are included is always kind of a little, like, baffling for me, because...
why is wrestling optional?
Yeah,
that's the one that always throws me off. That's one of the originals.
Wrestling was one of the originals. Like, why would that be one of the optional ones, and yet basketball is still an Olympic sport?
Why is basketball one of the... Is that mandatory, or is that an optional one as well?
See, that I don't even know. Like, I don't know, like, all that, but, like, the fact that wrestling, out of any of them, is optional, it kind of, like, boggles my mind.
Yeah, I don't mind basketball
I get, like,
there,
the track and field events should be mandatory.
Yeah.
I think wrestling should be mandatory, and maybe swimming, yeah.
like the
and then like the
decathlon,
marathon.
things like
I think
that.
like those are kind of like the core like Olympic kind of things.
Yeah,
And
track
then,
and
like,
field.
everything outside of that is optional, really.
Kind of, yeah. I could sort of see where you're coming from there.
Well, because I mean, like again, like wrestling was like the Olympic sport. Like if
Yeah.
you were the like winner of the wrestling, like that was like you were the shit back in ancient Greece. Like I mean,
I'm
Yeah,
the biggest,
definitely.
sweatiest man. Take down the other.
So no, there's some really cool. Some countries winning their first ever gold medals in Rio is kind of what I want to talk about really quick, and then we can
Yeah,
get back to what
Puerto
we're doing.
Rico.
Yeah, so Puerto Rico got their first ever gold medal, which was super awesome.
I mean USA Light.
Which was odd. It was actually in women's singles tennis. That's
Oh.
what they won their first gold in.
Right on.
For Puerto Rico, which is cool. One of my favorite stories from the games is Fiji's men's 7 team for rugby winning Fiji's first gold medal.
That's awesome.
Really?
Yeah, the men's sevens. It was
In
super
rugby.
cool in rugby.
That's awesome.
They
Hell yeah.
actually entered the games as the favorites for the 7-man portion of the Olympics. So, super fun. They were awesome to watch. I mean, it was really, really fun. So, congrats to Fiji. I think one of the
Hell yeah.
really, really cool ones was for Kosovo. They actually won and win the gold medal in the women's judo, 52 kilograms, which is super cool.
Nice.
And she was super humble.
Yeah.
It was great because she was like talking about how this shows girls in her country like what they can do, and it was really great, really really good story. I definitely suggest checking that
Oh
out.
yeah, absolutely.
And then Vietnam won their first gold in the men's 10-meter air pistol.
Good job,
Which is
Vietnam,
cool,
but
you know?
that's a thing.
Yeah, I know. And then finally Singapore won their first gold in the men's 100-meter butterfly.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
that was pretty. Actually, beat out Michael Phelps on that one.
Oh, yeah.
And he got silver. And then, of course, to begin,
Was that the angry Michael Phelps meme?
no, that was him preparing for a race, actually.
Oh, okay.
But I do want to give a shout out to the
Give it
U.S.
to
of
you,
A.
Adrian.
winning our first gold medal in shooting.
Oh yeah, actually there was
And the world is
numerous,
unsurprised.
U.S. female medalists
Yes.
in shooting.
I'm just saying our first gold medal of the games was for shooting. I mean,
Yeah.
what better way for USA to win their first medal than
Every other country just looked and went, yeah.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
Well, yeah, of course the Americans win with the guns.
Like
yeah.
always.
So lots of stuff going on in the Olympics, obviously, and then kind of getting back on track to our week. So I know Anthony got us started kind of talking about that, and Matt kind of threw in the Olympics and stuff. My week's pretty crazy. Me and Anthony actually are finishing up the arcade cabinet. Got
Oh, yeah.
all of the buttons installed now.
Yeah, now it's
Super
just some
exciting.
like minor electronics work, and we're pretty much ready to rock and roll with that thing.
And then at that point, it's all detailing and doing some stickers and decals,
Oh, yeah.
getting the marquee for it, and
If only
Super,
Anthony
super
knew how
exciting.
to use a drill.
if only Anthony could. Yeah, we have to do some wood filling because Anthony fucked up some of the buttons. But in the same, they'll be fine. Get it all working.
Fine, I'll let you program it yourself. Go fuck yourself.
Not a problem. I already programmed it to start. But no, it's been a really, really fun project to work on over the
Oh, yeah,
summer.
no, absolutely.
We're finally closing in on all the functionality getting finished up, and then we get to do all the fun decal work and all the fun touch-ups. So
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's going to be a lot of fun. Really looking forward to kind of finishing this up. Yeah, so and then
It's been a long process.
Exactly, and then
It has.
just kind of looking forward to what other engineering projects we want to do going forward. 'Cause,
Yeah.
I mean this is something we want to kind of keep doing.
Yeah, and we're definitely looking at doing some cool engineering projects. We've actually looked at doing like a mouse droid, working with some of the droid building stuff online. So
I know
Yeah.
you guys have theorized a 3D printer.
we've
perhaps
also
in the
talked
future.
about doing a 3D printer. So let us know if you want to see.
That's
one
a
of
high
us.
bar.
Yeah, let us know if you want us to do one of those. We'd be happy to hear what you have to say and what you think our next project will be. And we'll actually be doing some videos for the next project. So super, super exciting. But anyway, so yeah, so finished doing that for the week, getting the arcade machine all squared away, been watching some shows, obviously getting caught up on things. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and hand it over. I'm actually going to, you know what? I'm going to start off this week with
Well,
my
hold on.
topic.
How was your week, Anthony?
Thank
Before
you,
Chris
Matt,
barrels
at least
over
for
you.
remembering. No, so again,
Nobody cares. Shut up, Anthony.
Shut up, Chris, with your, NBC fucks up everything.
True story.
But yeah, no, like Chris said, we worked on the arcade cabinet. Basically, kind of starting to really kind of wrap that up, which I'm pretty excited about. On top of that, I've finished out the manga for Bleach.
Yeah, we were talking a
Which-
little of that earlier.
Yeah, no, and that was one of those kind of meh ending, but like the last like 2 pages and them kind of bringing it full circle and all that, I'm very happy with the way they actually kind of like finished it out. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah, it was kind of up in the air for a little while there.
Yeah, exactly.
How that would go.
You got to see a bunch of really cool bankais that you hadn't seen before. So just the final few chapters for Bleach was really awesome. So I
might pick
enjoyed
that up again.
Aside from that, it was mostly just kind of work and then just kind of hanging out with the family and all that. But I'm excited to finish up the cabinet and then kind of see where we go from here with our engineering projects. That's kind of my looking forward.
It'll be exciting. So lots of stuff going on this week. We've had some fun. I'm going to start us off with our first topic because this is something that I get really excited about since they started doing it.
Is this the second topic now after the Olympics?
This is the first
went off
topic.
on that.
Yeah. So this is my actual topic for the week. But I want to talk about Amazon pilot season. It's that time of year again. They have 3 shows that are kind of up to be voted to see which will be the next Amazon original series. And there's 3 super interesting shows. First up, I'm going to talk about I Love Dick. It's a new Kevin Bacon kind of a romantic comedy. Yes, I know. It's an odd name.
I was going to say, are we still on Amazon?
Kevin Bacon plays Dick. Kind of a romantic comedy. He rides a horse, whatever. I'm not super interested in it. I know there's some people that have really enjoyed the pilot.
My horse is amazing.
So I know some people enjoyed it. Then there's Jean-Claude Van Johnson, which is like a super hardcore meta comedy about like Jean-Claude Van Damme coming like out of retirement and back in, and it's super super meta, and it's one of like his better acting roles. Actually,
I kind of like that idea. It sounds fun.
Yeah, it's a really fun, really really fun pilot. I've enjoyed the pilot. It was really funny, and it'll be interesting to see where they take that show. But what I am most excited about, and I really hope is one of these, is the Tick. The Tick reboot on Amazon.
Oh, yeah.
Huge fan of the original Tick.
Yeah, no, that was one. Even, like, my mom loved watching The Tick. So, like, that was one of those. It was always on TV at my house when we were growing up. So, like, The Tick was awesome. So, as soon as I heard they were getting a reboot, I was like, fuck yeah. All right. I will watch that regardless of how shitty it is.
Super excited. I mean, obviously, Patrick Warburton, everyone is the Tick. They have a whole new cast. Really interesting take to the story. So there's actually this guy, Arthur, who's the main character of the story, living in the Tick's world, his sidekick. And so it takes kind of a different approach to how they tell the story, but you still get a lot of the Tick, and it's still your silly, stupid, dry humor, everything you would expect from the Tick. So I'm really excited for it. I really hope that I really hope that it gets picked up. I hope they do a full season for it. I think there's definitely a lot of potential there, and I was a huge Tick fan. So
and especially with like as popular as comic TV and movies are. The Tick would be a good choice for them to pick up.
Yeah, and
that'd be a fun one to bring back.
Especially just even the nostalgia portion of it.
Well, yeah, and even think about it. Like, the Tick has more relevant content than ever right now because all of these different, like, superhero movies, superhero TV shows, these are all so relevant in today's society. So there's a lot of different, like, content for them to take on and make jokes about.
Not that many animated ones so much right now either. Like a lot of it's live action.
Yeah.
Look at Supergirl, Daredevil, things like that.
Well,
Luke Cage is coming out soon.
Of course, both the Marvel and DC cinematic universes. So there's a lot of stuff that they can really play with and like have fun with and make fun of. So I'm really excited to see where they take that, and I'm hoping that they really do something strong with that.
Absolutely.
It's got a lot of potential. So really excited about it. If you have Amazon Prime, swing by and check out you can check out all 3 pilots. You can make your vote on it, and whichever one you like the most, vote for, and they'll produce it as a full series. So,
yeah.
So that was kind of what I wanted to talk about this week. Again, I'm super super excited about the Tick. Really hope it gets picked up. But the Jean-Claude Van Johnson is really good as well. So super meta. So if you're into like super meta comedy and
actually on that note. I know we posted about it a little while ago, but Ash vs. the Evil Dead Season 2 is coming out soon.
It is coming back.
How was the first season?
Excited.
I didn't see it.
It's amazing.
If
you liked the original, like, Evil Dead and Army of Darkness,
it's
a very campy, like, ridiculous humor. Like,
and it was very much more like Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness, which they called Slaughter Stick as they moved into that.
Yeah.
So the first one was more serious in tone, much more of a horror film.
Right.
The second two really took it to that whole new level of, like, horror comedy, which is what Ash vs. the Evil Dead continues to play on,
Yeah.
which is what people love. I mean,
Absolutely.
Army of Darkness was so good. It's one of my favorites. Super
This
funny.
is my boomstick.
Yeah, I mean,
yes.
it's such a quotable movie, and Ash vs. the Evil Dead, super great. It's on Showtime, I believe, correct?
I don't know.
I can't remember. It's either Showtime or Stars. I don't remember exactly which.
Let's take a look here. Yeah, but Ash vs. the Evil Dead, definitely worth checking it out, especially if you're a fan of the series.
Oh yeah, and
I
like,
would. Yeah.
Even Ash is one of he's just one of the scummiest people ever, but you still end up rooting for him because
He's one of the
it's
best like B horror movie protagonists.
Exactly, yeah.
Everyone loves Bruce Campbell, and it's on Stars, not Showtime.
Stars.
It's
Okay,
on Stars.
yeah.
Yeah,
Stars.
everybody loves Bruce Campbell. I mean, Bruce Campbell's amazing. I love it, and I'm so glad. Obviously, he didn't. He did the Evil Dead movies. He did. He was on Burn Notice, of course, but I'm glad to see him return to form as Ash. It's so much fun.
Well, Ash was how he got his start. Really, I mean, that's where everyone knows him from.
Yeah.
That was his start. He worked on that with Sam Raimi back on that early project. It was actually adapted off of a short film that Sam Raimi had done. They went in, got funding because of the short film. They made Evil Dead.
I heard like a bunch of them actually almost ended up dying trying to film the first Evil Dead.
So the first Evil Dead, it was a young project. Sam Raimi just fresh out of school. Really, really young project, and they had to improvise a lot. And because of the improvising and some of the techniques they had to use, of course, it's a little more dangerous. And being on a small indie production, you don't have a lot of the safety measures put into place that you see with bigger features. So yeah, there's some crazy things that happen for sure.
Yeah, I know. So I remember I ended up reading a few articles about it, and I guess a few of the especially the actresses. Where after that film, they're like, nope, I'm done, never doing movies again.
Yeah. Well, with that opening scene.
Everybody knows about the tree.
Yep.
Oh, but no, Evil Dead, really fun. Ash vs. the Evil Dead, definitely great. Check it out if you're a fan of campy horror.
Oh, yeah.
It's definitely well worth it. And the zombie makeup's awesome. Like, the monster makeup in it is really,
How old
really
is
great.
that? Is that 80s or 70s? The original Evil Dead?
80s.
It was 80s?
Yeah,
Okay.
it was in the 80s. So, super fun. Definitely check it out, and it's definitely worth a watch. Season 1 was great. Season 2 is getting ready to come out on Stars, so check it out if you're a fan of the franchise. It's definitely worth it. So,
Yeah.
All right, hang on, I'm trying to see when the actual release date
Premiere
is
date?
Yeah,
All right.
for Season 2. Because that's one of those, if it ties in with Halloween, or at least thereabouts with October and all that, I would actually kind of like to do something like that for even just the podcast, maybe, is just kind of have like a quick little recap of what happened that week on the episode and just kind of talk about it.
Yeah, we might have to do that. It's October 2nd, 2016 is the first start date for Season 2.
Hell yeah. So that'd
right
be
at the start
perfect.
of
So just
October.
right into October,
Definitely come
right
out.
into Halloween.
Obviously, you gotta love, Halloween
Yeah,
stuff.
so I don't know. We'll see what you guys think, but I would like to incorporate something like that into either the show or maybe something else we do.
Yeah, definitely. So, yeah, it's definitely great. Check it out. A lot of fun. Ash vs. the Evil Dead. So, I'm actually going to hand this over to Anthony now to kind of talk about his topic for this week.
Yeah, so actually this week was kind of interesting in terms of electronic vehicles. MIT just released a study saying that for 90% of commercial use, electric vehicles can replace the standard gasoline or whatever vehicles you have for just everyday use. And it would reduce emissions by about 30%. And that's kind of interesting to me because that's literally just consumer electronic vehicles replacing consumer fuel vehicles.
Yep. Yeah, and it's really interesting to take note of because a lot of people were always saying, it wouldn't get me as far as I need to go, blah,
Right.
blah, 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 blah. But at this point, especially for anyone commuting within the city, it's well within the limits
Exactly.
to do.
Yeah.
And then, so Tesla tends to be a little bit more out of the price range of most people, at least as of right now, since they haven't released their Model 3. But
Still
even
a
if
very
you
good
have
thing.
one of the other, like a Jolt or one of the other electronic vehicles that is out there, the Tesla supercharging stations will still work.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's already this infrastructure to get you cross-country if you wanted to do that with your vehicle.
And there's actually been a huge partnership with Walmart, of all places.
Exactly.
And there's now, Walmart is installing electric vehicle charging stations within all their parking
Fun
lots.
fact, I actually I went to Walmart earlier today because I had to get some new contact lenses. And as I was walking in, sure enough, they already had 3 spots right there. So it's literally handicap spots, electronic vehicle parking.
Yeah, and it's really great. I mean, it's great to see they're starting to put partnerships with some of these companies that really have the resources to do stuff like this, because that's what it's going to take to really move towards adopting that. And there's a lot of discussion over, is it really going to reduce carbon emissions that much, so on and so forth. But if you look in the long term and you look at, switching things from coal and gas burning over to solar, wind, and nuclear.
And before we address that real quick, so that MIT study that came out said literally just by switching the vehicles, not even switching the energy sources or anything like that, just switching the vehicles would reduce emissions by 30%.
Which is huge.
That's huge. And that's not even switching from like coal power plants that recharge the vehicles or anything like that.
Yeah, that's not
like
even
they took all that into effect, or into account rather. They took all that into account, and it would still reduce emissions by 30%. So then, once you start adding in, okay, let's start replacing coal with solar or with wind power or with whatever.
Nuclear even.
Yeah, even nuclear. Then it starts dropping even more.
Yeah. I mean, we're finally at the point where this could start taking on widespread adoption. We don't want to get political. Obviously, there's like lobby issues and so on and so forth. But
and Tesla keeps coming under fire because they don't do the whole dealership circuit.
Exactly.
And there's all that kind of stuff.
There's a lot of different things, but just knowing we are poised to make this change in society is really exciting.
Exactly, and there's and actually, Chris, I was talking with you about this earlier. There's that Reddit post we saw a while back talking about how in like the early 1900s, New York City and London were on the verge of basically being drowning in horseshit.
Yep.
Literal horseshit, because that was how everybody got around. But then the rise of the automobile ended up solving, quote-unquote, that crisis. So now I kind of feel we are on the cusp of essentially the next iteration of that same problem.
We're currently neck deep in horseshit. Theoretical this time.
Theoretical horseshit this time.
I don't know. Look on the internet.
But yeah, no, so I really feel this is a very positive step that is on the horizon. People haven't fully embraced it yet.
Yeah.
But it's kind of the next step. It's kind of where everything is going, and I'm very excited to see ultimately where all of that goes.
It's still new. It's going to take a lot of people some time to warm up to it.
Oh, yeah. Exactly.
So. It's new, but it's finally at the point where it can be adapted. Widespread. It's becoming affordable technology now. It's really at the point where it's going to start falling into everyday use.
Exactly. And the kicker, it's starting to become cost effective. Like
exactly.
Electronic vehicles are now not these ridiculously outpriced things anymore. You can get a decent commercial electronic vehicle for about $30,000.
Yeah. I mean, you're looking at like a normal luxury sedan price at that point. It's really coming down. And we'll see, in the next 5 years, we'll see it drop down to, the mid-20s and low 20s even.
Exactly.
In the next 5
and then,
years.
Even Tesla with their Model 3 getting ready to come out, they're producing their Gigafactory so they can start cranking out batteries, which will reduce cost of some of their other models even more. It's just a really interesting thing. I'm curious to see what happens next. And then, actually, speaking of the Gigafactory and the Tesla batteries, they're in the process of manufacturing I believe it's a 100 kilowatt hour battery, which will improve their range for their Model S to 400 miles.
That would be awesome.
Yeah,
400 miles on an electric vehicle.
That beats
with
a lot.
25 minute recharge time.
Yeah.
You are in essentially a gasoline powered vehicle range.
Yeah.
Like at that point, it doesn't matter because I know when I'm doing a long road trip and I need to refuel. Yeah, I'll refuel, and then I'll go grab some candy and some energy drinks and some Gatorade or whatever. And I'm usually there at the pit stop for about 20-25 minutes anyway.
Yeah.
So it's becoming one of those things where it's almost to the point where electronic vehicles are just as efficient in terms of convenience as gasoline-powered vehicles.
Well, and you look at vehicles like a lot of SUVs, like mid-sized, smaller SUVs, or you get 320 miles to a tank.
Exactly.
And then you look at obviously cars are becoming more and more fuel efficient, but there's a lot of options out there. So it's definitely becoming much more relevant. It's becoming much more convenient, much more cost effective.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a lot of really great things coming around in the smart car industry, just the electric car industry. Very much so.
Absolutely. Well, and then even some of the stuff they've done with even just the gasoline vehicles in terms of the hybrid vehicles and stuff like that. and getting more efficiency out of them with the resistive braking. So when you brake and then it recharges the battery and then it uses the battery to help propel the motor and all that. Yeah. It's one of those. It's very interesting. I'm very curious to see what the future of transportation is.
It's very exciting. Yeah, there's a lot of exciting things about transportation coming up. So, really great topic. I'm glad you brought it up because it's something that is really, really relevant in today's world. It's something that's becoming more and more talked about.
Oh yeah,
just a lot going on with it.
Now, how long do you think till we get to Coruscant levels where it's like flying cars all over these skyscrapers?
Well, I mean, they do have flying cars.
Yeah,
they exist. They're just not widespread, and you have to have a pilot's license for them.
Yeah, it's not a car.
No, it is. It's a flying car. They exist. They are street legal cars that can also transition into a flying car.
How come we haven't seen any yet?
They exist. They're out there.
Show me a picture right
Jesus.
now.
All right,
oh my God. All right.
Fucking Matt being like, oh, man, it doesn't exist.
Yeah, well, think about it from someone like me who's not in on this stuff. You sound like a jackass describing a plane and being a whole smartass asshole.
Okay. So
why are you playing that with sound while we're recording?
I turned off the sound.
Chris,
so here you go.
Up.
Here we go. Look at this, Matt. They're talking about the history of cars. That's the helicopter. Now we have to go through this video because Matt's like,
sorry to our audience as to listen to us watch a YouTube video.
Hey, you could have said, I'll show you after the show. No, you have to do it now.
We're going to do a quick... You said to do it right now. I'm doing it right now.
You could have said, I'll show you later.
We're going to cut all this out, and then I'm like, oh, look, told you so, because there's one right there. Street legal.
I don't see it flying.
Legal. It's going to fly in like 2 seconds. A fucking video about 4 flying cars that actually fly.
And
look,
the reason you haven't seen it is because you do still have to submit a flight plan because the FAA is still a thing.
It transitioned, and it's now flying.
Oh, man, the Wright brothers would be proud.
Go fuck yourself, man. You have to say it now. Chris was right. There's flying cars.
Chris was right. There's flying cars.
Yeah.
And they look just like helicopters with wheels.
That's right. It's a flying car.
They look like toys.
They're street legal automobiles that can also transition to fly.
Does that count as a car or a tricycle?
Chris, that's a fucking automobile, you dumbass. Jesus Christ. Okay. Anyway,
now that I've started pressing your buttons,
salty.
I can keep pressing them.
Matt was wrong. Chris was right. We're going to go ahead and move on to our countdown of this week, which Anthony and Matt decided should be top 5 anime characters. So that's kind of what we're going to talk about today.
Oh, throw us under the flying bus.
You'll have to forgive me. I definitely don't have as much widespread anime as these two guys, so mine are going to be kind of odd characters. They're from things that I've seen that have been introduced to me, but I don't have a lot of mainstream.
So are mine, but
I don't have a lot of mainstream anime, so I'll go ahead and start being the least educated on this topic. Coming in at number 5 from Attack on Titan is Hanji.
Yeah, Hanji Zoe.
Oh my god,
she's so great.
She cracks me up. I mean, I love that she has like this passion for the Titans. She like doing all these science experiments, but they're her babies, and like gets so upset when one of them is killed by someone because all these things happening. But
you need to get in on the manga too because she gets a lot more stuff going later.
Yeah, and she's a really great character, super eccentric, a lot of fun, great comedy moments, but also like super serious and like hardcore as well. So super exciting, really, really fun. Definitely suggest checking it out.
Fun fact about Zoe before we move on is we say she, but Zoe is purposely meant to be androgynous. We don't actually have an official confirmation on whether Hanji Zoe is male or female. It's just widely considered female by the fandom.
She definitely looks female to me.
Yeah, that's what I consider.
Voiced by a female voice actress. So, but yeah, number 5 coming from me, Hanji Zoe from Attack on Titan. Number 4 from one of my top animes, actually, from Higurashi no Naku Koroni, which is When the Cicadas Cry.
I'd be surprised if it wasn't your top.
Yeah, number 4, Rika Farud. She is such a great character.
Oh my God.
So she's so happy. And, like, great character.
Hold on. You're about to spoil something huge if you go into depth on Rika.
Okay, I am about to spoil this. So, just a heads up, spoiler alert for Higurashi. Even if you listen to this, you don't skip the spoiler alert. I suggest checking the show out because it's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
But she goes through hell. You don't... and I'm not going to spoil in depth, but this character goes through so much shit and is still happy all the time. It's crazy.
At least on the outside.
Yeah, at least on the outside, yeah.
So really, really cool character, great series, very dynamic character, a lot more depth than you initially expect. So really, really great character. I enjoyed her. Coming in at number 3 is from a show, Haganai, or I Don't Have Many Friends, Rika.
Yeah.
Rika
Two
is...
Rikas in a row.
Yeah, 2 Rikas in a row. Rika is so funny because she is a real-life troll.
Yeah.
So hard.
She can
So there's another character in the series, and she's like super into romance games and so on and so forth.
Oh my god, yes.
And Rika,
Miku.
yeah, Rika trolls her so hard. Oh my god. And not to mention, the other thing about Rika is she is like a brilliant character, but she is like the most pervy character ever, and it's glorious. It is so funny because she'll be like talking about something, and then all I'm going to say is roller coaster scene.
Oh
Go
my
watch
God,
Hog
yes.
and I don't have many friends, and just
roller
remember
coaster is amazing.
roller coaster scene. It is her character in a nutshell. It's
Honestly,
amazing.
not gonna lie, that roller coaster scene is probably one of my favorites from like anime in general.
It was really
That's
funny.
so hilarious.
Yeah, Rika's one of those characters who could hang out with Master Roshi from Dragon Ball, and they would get it.
So Rika's amazing, super pervy, brilliant. It's just really funny character. Number 2 from Working, Popora. She's so adorable. So she's like this super short kid that everyone has to help, but she's the oldest, and just really funny character. She's just always getting teased, getting pat on the head, and it's just
Super nice and endearing.
yeah,
And
super nice, endearing character. Really funny. Just really her character's funny.
have you
and
finished
Working's
season
great.
3 yet?
I did finally. No, I have 2 episodes left.
Okay,
I have
finish
2
that.
episodes left. So
It ends really well.
gotta
Yeah,
finish
it
that.
does.
But yeah, Rika or Popora, sorry, super great, really funny character. And coming at number 1 is from Death Parade, Deco.
Yep, I can see that.
I absolutely adored Death Parade. Loved the story, great twist. I won't spoil anything. Highly suggest checking it out. It's a pretty new anime.
Yeah, it was 2015, I believe.
Yeah, go check it out. It's amazing. Decum is awesome. He kind of comes off as like a heartless bastard at first. Then throughout the story, you learn more about him, and really endearing character. But I love the character. Awesome character, awesome show. So Decum from Death Parade is my number 1.
Nice.
So I'm going to hand the next one over to Anthony because we're
All
going to
right.
let Matt summarize this at the end.
Oh yeah, no, because Matt is the biggest anime geek out of all of us.
And
So
I will
actually-
say there are 2 from each of your lists that may or may not be on mine. So I
Well,
can
and
fill
even
in
as
a little
Chris was going through his list, I was like, "Fuck, I could add more to mine."
Yeah, when
And
Anthony and I
that
were
was the
planning
thing,
this
like-
out before everything earlier, Anthony kept finding more and more that he wanted to add to the point where he should have gone a 10 instead of top 5.
Yeah. So ultimately, mine are a little bit more mainstream, really, than Chris's.
Casual alert.
Well, not so much just casual, but they're just fucking great characters.
Yeah, they're good.
So I'm going to start off with my honorable mention, and it's Captain Kenpachi from Ichigo, or not from Ichigo, from Bleach.
Kenpachi's
Kenpachi is he's amazing. Just because he's so stupidly strong that he kind of gets away with everything.
Yeah.
He's just a great character, and he just loves to fight, and he thinks that using a lot of his abilities are cheating, so he
He wears an iPad.
yeah, he physically restricts himself to make it harder, to make it a challenge. Kenpachi's just awesome. But now getting into my top 5, and again, these aren't really in any particular order. So I'm going to start off with Lelouch from Lelouch of the Rebellion.
Yeah, Code Geass.
Yeah,
for
Code
anyone.
Geass. Lelouch is one of my top 5 just because of how brilliant he is. This dude literally has the entire world under his control. He has everything figured out all the way to the end game. And by the way, if you haven't seen it, literally the last episode of that anime will kind of have you in tears. You're just like, holy fuck. Did he really have this planned from the beginning? What the fuck is wrong?
I've heard really good things about Code Geass.
Oh,
but
it's
I'm not much of a
absolutely
mecha person.
Amazing. Well, see, that's the thing. I grew up on Gundam Wing, so mechs are my.
Although shout out to Anthony, one of my favorite mecha animes is one he introduced to me.
Oh yeah,
which is Gargantia.
Oh yeah,
So we say no Gargantia.
Hell yeah, that one's good. So the next one, obviously, got to be on a top 5. Spike from Cowboy Bebop.
Yep.
Oh my god. Well, just Cowboy Bebop in general is probably one of the best animes I've ever seen.
Oh yeah.
And then Spike's character, along with his dynamics with the rest of the crew, with even his enemies, with just everything, it's brilliant. It kind of is the, I don't know, Cowboy Bebop and Spike set the stage really. Ultimately, I think without Cowboy Bebop, there wouldn't have been Firefly.
Kind of, yeah.
because that's just
They're very
kind
similar
of
in a lot of
like
regards.
Spike is almost like just essentially the Japanese version of Malcolm Reynolds.
Yeah, never really looked at it that way. Yeah, Chris, I know you haven't seen Cowboy Bebop. You should check it out. I think you'd like that one.
Oh
All
yeah,
right, I'm going to have to check that one out.
And it's from the 90s. It's one of the older ones, too.
yeah. No, it's really good.
Also, it has great dubbing.
Well, the dub is great, and then the soundtrack.
Oh,
The soundtrack is phenomenal.
jazzy noir.
Oh yeah,
So good.
exactly.
Anthony and I could go on for a while here.
All right, so next one I've got to go with Ichigo from Bleach. Just because Ichigo is one of those.
Bleach on the mind.
Well, yeah, no. So Bleach is on my mind because I was, like I said, I just finished it up this week and everything. But Ichigo is just a really great character. Not really because of how powerful he is or anything like that, but more of just his character. There's
He's an interesting guy.
Yeah, there's so many points throughout the anime or the manga where he could have really kind of gone any way he wanted, but he still chose to do the right thing, and he still chose to, do what was for, the best for everyone. So it was just one of those. Ichigo is a really great character because he has the power to literally be a fucking dick if he wants to.
Yeah.
And he has plenty of opportunities to do that.
Well, his backstory, he and Chad were delinquents, weren't they?
Exactly,
Before
yeah.
the story.
And and he still chooses to, kind of do the right thing and be the good guy, which I really thought was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And then almost on the exact opposite side of that is my next choice, Zoro from One Piece. Yeah. So Zoro is kind of one of those that he starts off as a pirate hunter, and then he ends up joining the One Piece crew as a pirate. And
yeah, which one is he?
Zoro's the one that uses the three swords to fight with.
Okay, because I don't know too much about One Piece, but I know a few of the characters by appearance. So.
Yeah, no, and Zoro's awesome because, well, One Piece is just great in general because they do have a great variety of characters that are all, like, really strong, but they also have their weaknesses and their foibles and all that kind of stuff.
Diverse cast.
Exactly. So Zoro is one of those, he's one of the best Blade Masters in the entire, like, One Piece universe. There's still a few that are better than him, and that kind of gives him his drive and motivation throughout the show.
Yeah.
He has a terrible sense of direction, so it's kind of a running trope throughout the show that
going back to Kenpachi.
Exactly, yeah. They'll all be running to go fight in this big battle or something like that, and then Zoro will get lost, and then just so happen to run into one of the other like Blade Masters from one of the rival crews or something like that. But Zoro is just really cool because he isn't really anything special in and of himself. He doesn't have like any of the abilities like Luffy or any of the others that have like the Devil Fruit abilities. He literally got to be that powerful just by working his ass off.
Yeah.
So that's one of those things about Zoro that I just thought was really, really badass. And then my last one, obviously, got to be Vegeta from Dragon Ball Z.
Of course.
Right? Well, and Vegeta...
It's because Vegeta sounds a lot like something else that Anthony loves.
Heyo.
Vegetables?
No, but Vegeta... And again, there could have been any number of characters I could have picked from Dragon Ball Z that are all really great. But the thing I loved about Vegeta is, again, kind of the same thing that I think the reason I liked Zoro is Vegeta kind of knows he's not the best. So he keeps working his ass off to keep getting stronger.
Yeah. Vegeta shows arguably the best character development in that show.
And yeah, exactly.
By a wide margin.
Exactly. And Vegeta's just one of those that he has his mind set on a goal. And like he just drives towards that relentlessly. And that's something that, I don't know, any character, regardless, anime, TV, whatever, it doesn't matter. Like if there's a character that has like just that drive, that's something that I resonate with personally.
Yeah. Vegeta's the story of the underdog next to Goku.
Exactly.
Who's like the Superman,
because like
miracle
as
child.
arrogant as Vegeta is and all that, he is still the underdog. But Vegeta just refuses to acknowledge that he is the underdog, and he still just keeps like, yeah, I don't know. Vegeta's fucking awesome.
Yeah. All right. So that runs into mine then.
Yeah, so now we're at Matt's top 5. Take us away.
All right. My number 5, Gilgamesh from the Fate series. Fate Stay Night, Fate Zero, all that. He's the heroic spirit of, Gilgamesh from the Epic of Gilgamesh. And he's just a douche. I love it. Like, he's just a fun character because he's so full of himself. He's so arrogant, and he can back it up with just overwhelming power. He's great.
I love the arrogance.
Yeah. You'd like him, Chris, I think. My number 4 is Suiginto from Rose and Maiden. She's one of the living dolls, one of the 7. And she was the first one created, but she was faulty, so she was just kind of thrown to the side. And she sort of gained life kind of on her own instead of the same way that her sisters did. And she's got kind of a tragic story to her, and she ends up becoming a villain through circumstance more than anything, just out of jealousy.
All right.
I really like her a lot.
That makes for the most like endearing villains, though. Someone you can relate to and kind of see where they came from.
Oh, yeah. Because there is a 2-part thing between 2 of the seasons that actually shows her backstory from her point of view. So you get to learn a lot of why she became kind of the way she is, which is really great.
Nice.
My number 3, tying into Anthony's, is Vegeta. Can't say much more that has already been said. I love Vegeta. I could have put someone on here like Piccolo would probably be my number 2.
All right.
But Vegeta all the way.
Yeah, see, I think, and again, Vegeta made both of our lists for a reason.
Yeah, he's a great character just in general.
Exactly. I think, and you said Piccolo. Piccolo is a really good choice for like an alternative. I think mine probably would have been Kid Gohan.
Kid Gohan's great. I will say I love the Great Saiyan Man. As much as is wrong with teenage Gohan, I unironically love the Great Saiyan Man. He's so corny and stupid, and it's great.
I'm laughing because I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, Chris smiles and nods. My number 2 is Shinoa Hiragi from Seraph of the End. She's a character kind of like Rika from Haganai that Chris mentioned earlier, like very kind of flighty, perverted, sort of does her own thing in her own pace. She's really sassy is the word that keeps coming back to her that I see, which is great. And she actually saved that show for me. I was ready to drop it after the first episode because that first episode's really boring and par for the course. So I thought, okay, go into the second episode of the show. If nothing catches me here, I'm dropping it. And then Shinoa best characters her way into the screen. And she kept me going. Although her character development later actually made her more mature and a little less interesting, and that stopped her from getting my top spot.
And your number 1?
Is Rika from Haganai.
Yeah!
Just, she's so good. This
roller coaster.
Yeah, that roller coaster scene might be my favorite. And, I don't know. Rika's great because she's this huge perverted character. She's a brilliant scientist, so she kind of gets her own curriculum in school. And aside from that, though, she's also one of the most observant characters out of the main cast. She's one of the few who recognizes that, yes, they are becoming friends, legitimate friends.
Yeah.
Instead of just a group of assholes hanging out together.
Oh, we're not friends. We're just trying to learn how to make friends when they're actually becoming friends.
Yeah.
So, not much more that can be said that hasn't already, but Rika.
Nice. So, yeah, those are our top 5. Let us know some of your top 5 favorite anime characters or just some of your favorite anime in general. It's totally cool. You know, shoot us up on Facebook, Twitter, @DulyNerded. You can even leave a comment on the website. Just let us know what you think. We'd love to hear from you. So that's going to lead into our third topic of the night. Matt has a few things to kind of talk about with Pokemon.
All right, so more stuff for Pokemon Sun and Moon has been filtering in. You got a few more Pokemon designs that came out in the past few days that are interesting.
One that I'm way super excited about.
Which one are you in?
Palisand.
Oh, yeah. People have kind of been on the fence about that one. I really like the Ghost Sandcastle.
I love the design. I love the story where it just, it basically is created from, murdering a Pokemon. It, engulfs them and takes the bitterness of their soul, and that's how New Palisand is made. It's really fucking dark, but it's really awesome, really cool. It just
screams Japanese mythology.
Yeah, it's a really,
a lot
really...
of Pokemon are based on Japanese mythology.
No, absolutely.
Yeah. Really, really cool. I'm really excited about Palisand, for sure.
And there are a few others, but instead of going into that, based on the whole thing with Palisand, or whatever its name is, the design of that thing, people have been really on the fence about that, but I'm about to go off here, so pardon me for anyone.
Get ready for mass Pokemon anger.
Oh yeah, I'm going to rant a bit here. People have been saying stuff about Nintendo's creatively bankrupt with these ideas. They're so stupid. They're out of ideas, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, shut the fuck up. Look back all the way to generation 1, 2, 3, whatever. Everything has their dumb designs, their good designs. Look at Voltorb. It's a fucking Pokeball with eyes. Electrode is its evolution. You just flip it upside down. That is the stupidest fucking bullshit. Mr. Mime. What the fuck is that? Sure, there's a Mime design, but I don't know. I don't like that thing.
Are we going to talk about Jinx?
Well, Jinx, as much as I hate Jinx's design, it does have ties into a specific Japanese myth.
Yeah.
So there's stuff there.
All right. I'll give that
Fucking
to you.
Grimer and Muck are just piles of sludge with faces. I like Muck, but that is fucking stupid from a design standpoint. Look at Magnemite. It's a ball with 2 magnets and an eye.
And some screws. Don't forget the screws.
Yeah.
Right.
And Magneton is just 3 of those stuck together. Diglett is just a stump. Dugtrio is just 3 stumps stuck together. It is the fucking
Doug
stupidest
Duo
thing.
and Doug Trio.
And don't worry. Matt is quite
Oh, did I say
familiar.
Doug?
Matt is
you were
quite...
talking about Diglett, but I was talking...
Yeah. No, Matt's quite familiar with stumps. So he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, I've seen your baby pictures. But, just the people complaining about the designs, the bad designs in new generations. Of course they're going to have some designs that don't work. But look at the ones from the older generations. Like, there's some stupid shit from the beginning. If you're going to make claims that Nintendo are out of ideas, and they've been out of ideas from the start.
Yeah,
And
I
if
gotta
any
say,
of those ones were introduced, like if Electrode and Volta were introduced now, things like that, or Grimer, I don't know. I feel like people would have turned on them just as hard as they're turning on some of the others.
yeah,
Yeah.
and people say they're
I am,
out of ideas. but
super frustrated with
they
shit
have
like
a lot
that.
of really cool stuff coming out again. A lot of really cool designs, and personally, I like Palisand. And it's a really cool the story behind it. And
I like
how
it
its
too,
design
but then there are
is,
people who are like, "Oh, it's just a sandcastle." Like, fucking look at some of the stuff from the early
And
games.
then ultimately, it kind of comes down
Every
to
game.
one of the complaints I've heard a lot with even World of Warcraft is the gameplay fun. Because as long as the gameplay is fun, character design, boss design really almost doesn't matter. Because, again, especially me having been a tank for such a long time in World of Warcraft, a lot of boss fights, at least from a tanking perspective, are very similar.
Yeah.
Swap on X stacks, don't stand in this, turn them around if this happens. I mean, you can't really get a whole lot of
kind of a
variety.
flow
or,
chart.
What I think,
but
gameplay.
even still, it's the gameplay. It's not necessarily the boss mechanics. It's
See,
not that.
I disagree. One, boss mechanics I think are directly integrated into gameplay. Two, you can have great gameplay, but if you still don't have good design, it can take you out of the element. It can pull you out of the element.
I'll give you that, but even still, like with
And
quote
I mean-
unquote shitty design, which
And
I
that's
mean,
the
I don't
thing.
really think
These-
is shitty design.
These aren't shitty designs.
Exactly.
It's just stuff that people are like, oh, bruh. Like, I'm sorry. Do you work for Nintendo? Do you make the designs? No? Okay. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Well, another thing too, from the gameplay standpoint, like Anthony says, like another big complaint level at the Pokemon series is that they don't do anything different, which I also disagree with. Like, yeah, sure, the main series is very standard. Okay, here's the new group of Pokemon. Here's 8 new gyms. Here's the Elite Four. Here's the new villain. Go. But stop looking at that. Look at the side games. Look at Pokemon Snap. Look at Pokken Tournament.
Oh yeah.
Look at Pokemon Stadium.
even
with all
the
the
main games.
Even in the games, there's a lot of mechanic updates. There's a lot of additions.
There is,
Like,
but people
they
are
do a
saying
lot.
like they don't do much with the franchise to like innovate. Like as far as the main series goes, it's very
Yeah, but the
formulaic.
moment they step away from the formula, people start bitching that they're stepping away from the formula. So you have
Yeah.
those people are never going to be happy. Like,
They're
They
not.
just want something to bitch about.
Like, and it might just be a vocal minority, but
Well, that's all
It's
the
so
internet
frustrating.
is. The internet is a platform for the vocal minority.
it is. But a lot of the time they end.
Check us out at www.duly-nerded.com or Facebook and Twitter at dulynerded. No, very
it's
much
just
so.
frustrating. Like
Yeah.
obviously I'm biased because I love the Pokemon series, but I don't know. It's just something that's been getting to me, especially after the recent stuff. I will say
Definitely.
there are some dumb designs.
Well,
Like
and it
I'm
was kinda
not
like
too
what we
into
talked
some of the
about-
designs that were announced outside of the Sandcastle.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of what we talked about with like even No Man's Sky last week. The people are going to play it. You know,
Yeah.
some people are
Well,
not going to like it. Some people are going to.
The thing is,
love
though,
it.
At the same
even
time,
the
No Man's
people-
Sky is new, whereas
There's-
this is
yeah.
something that's been around for 20
Pokemon's a storied
years.
franchise, and even the people that are bitching about the design, like they're either bitching because they want to bitch about Pokemon and they don't play the game,
Right.
or they're bitching and they're still going to play the game and they're going to love it and pour hundreds of hours into it and just there's some poor designs. Which whatever, that's cool if you don't like the designs, that's fine. But
Right.
just because you don't like a design doesn't mean they're running out of ideas.
No, exactly.
Although I will say there are some just basic animals that they need to put in there. Like people have said a dolphin would be good because it is based in Hawaii, Sun and Moon. coming
Yeah,
out.
that's
so that
true.
would be kind of a cool thing. The
Definitely.
other stuff.
So now we're going to kind of jump into our social media questions First up, I actually want to go to our website. We have a few questions from friend Abe. And he was we talked a lot about Blizzard last week. We talked about some music. We talked about a few different things. But one of his questions was what our thoughts were on the new WoW expansion. So, I mean, it's still early. Obviously, we haven't gotten into the meat of the expansion, but we've gotten to play Demon Hunters, which I'm in love with.
Oh, I love my Demon Hunter.
Yeah, great.
Oh my god, so much fun.
They're really fun to play. You jump around. You're DPS or tank. Really, really fun. I like the Demon Hunter. The invasions have been a lot of fun. I've really, really enjoyed the invasion mechanic. They're increasing the amount of invasions coming across. So it's been a lot of fun. So basically, the intro quests building up to the expansion are awesome. Like, the story is really, really coming together.
Oh, yeah.
So, to answer your question, Gabe, if all the pre-patch stuff has anything to say about what Legion is going to be, I'm fucking stoked.
And see, so for me, Snap Judgment, I hate the fact that they made my DK too simple. Like, they stripped away a lot of my utility. They stripped away a lot of abilities and stuff like that.
They did that with a lot of classes.
No, they did that with like everybody, and I get that, and I get why they did it, and it makes for a more streamlined game.
Yeah,
which works for something like the Demon Hunter, which I've been having a blast with because I haven't had like this expanded toolkit and everything to get fucked with.
Oh yeah.
So like the fact that my DK I've been playing since Wrath, and then they just remove like everything, and I'm just like, my DK doesn't do shit anymore. What the fuck?
Well,
so, I'm excited
though,
for the expansion.
DKs were OP. I'm sorry. DKs were OP.
If anything was ever OP, it was Druids.
False. They nerfed the shit out of Druids in Kata.
They nerfed Feral Druids. Everything else, anything you wanted to do with the Druid was broken as fuck. Oh, I'm
Tonight's
running
the episode
low on
where we
health.
yell a lot.
Let me turn into a bear and heal myself, and I can't take damage. Oh, okay, I want to do some damage. Let me turn into a fucking owl and blow you the fuck up.
No, but to answer your question, Abe, I'm super stoked.
Yeah.
The pre-patch content has been great. Really, really excited.
I have no strong feelings one way or the other.
No, I've been having
as the one
fun.
who doesn't play well.
I've been having fun playing a lot of the lead-up stuff, especially the Demon Hunter, so I am excited for it. I'm curious to see what they do with the raids, because, again, as a raider, that's what kind of makes or breaks it for me. So, yeah, no, I'm really curious. And then, actually, Abe is actually one of my good friends from way back in the day, and he sent in a couple other questions, so I'll just address a couple of those right now.
Heck yeah.
So, one of them... So you guys have talked about drinking some beer while you were recording. What are your favorite beers, brews, or drink of choice? So I'm going to start this off.
All right.
All right, Abe, you already know me. I'm a fan of any sort of whiskey. So right now I've been drinking some 1776 and Templeton Rye. Those two are currently my favorite whiskeys that I've been drinking. And then also, me and Chris just killed off fairly recently a pack of the Dry Dock Vanilla Porter. That stuff is fucking bomb.
It is delicious. Yeah, so for me, when it comes to more of the liquors, I'm a huge Scotch fan, preferably a Lagavulin 16. Big fan of that. So yeah, I really love Lagavulin. When it comes to beer, I really, the Dry Dock Vanilla Porter is really good. I'm actually a huge fan of the Vanilla Stout done by Breckenridge. Really, really good as well. So I like the darker beers like stouts, like some of the stuff. So those are probably two of my drinks of choice. What about you, Matt?
I'm not much of a drinker, really, but I'd have to go probably Not Your Father's root beer.
Oh,
that stuff is pretty good.
I could chug that. I've been told I shouldn't chug that because it is alcohol, but I drink that just like it is regular beer. And I'll admit, I like Mike's Hard Lemonade, that kind of stuff. I've gotten dirty looks from Anthony's girlfriend over this. But yeah, I like definitely fruity drinks because I like sweet, not bitter. So.
All right. And then we have a question from Nate. He said, I know that Virgin Galactic is developing commercial spacecraft to provide suborbital and orbital spaceflight. Sir Richard Branson originally wanted the initial flight to be back in 2009, which has, of course, been delayed a number of times. I wanted to get your thoughts on what we think we can actually expect some kind of space tourism to be up and running, and are there any companies pursuing this business that he doesn't know about? So,
I feel like 22nd century, honestly.
No, it'll be way before then.
I definitely
think so.
Yeah, it'll be soon. I don't think
actual widespread space tourism.
Yeah, I mean Richard Branson was super aggressive.
It took less than 100 years to go from first space flight to being on the moon. Yeah, no, we'll have
Yeah,
commercial
true.
space flight here. Honestly, I would say commercial space flight probably in 20 years.
You think so?
Oh,
I
yeah.
definitely think it's something
early?
coming up, especially with the advancement of like reusable rockets and some of that stuff that's coming out. There's a lot of opportunities to make it much more profitable than it is right now. I know Richard Branson; he was very, very aggressive in pushing for that, and some of the suborbital stuff he was trying to do. But there wasn't really a lot. I mean, say what you will, I'm not too excited about taking a flight basically into suborbital space. Not too exciting to me. But I think there's a lot of things coming up and a lot of advancements that are being done that could definitely lead to it. I don't know if the next 20 years for commercially, but I would definitely say within the next 50. So that's kind of what we think.
So, and
I don't know. Still
just
feel like it's a
some
bit
kind
soon.
of companies that are looking into space tourism. SpaceX originally, that was one of their first goals before they kind of changed focus on getting people to Mars. Some of the other ones are obviously Virgin Galactic, Blue Origin, Bigelow Aerospace, and Space Dev. So those are some of the ones that I really know of that are actually kind of working in that area. But yeah, no, I think commercial spaceflight will be a thing here fairly shortly. It'll be expensive at first. And then again, as Chris mentioned, with reusable rockets and stuff like that becoming more and more popular, it'll get cheaper and cheaper.
Yeah, definitely.
And then especially because we already have aircraft like, granted, this is still military and all that, but you have the U-2 and a few other high-end military aircraft that really do get suborbital.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't foresee it being a big deal, really, even 30 years from now, having relatively inexpensive, just, kind of suborbital flights.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, there's got to be the appeal to the masses, and I'm not sure how much a suborbital flight is appealing as opposed to actually being in space and that kind of stuff. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes. But
Yeah. Well, and one more question from Abe. So, what was the turning point or major influence for your love of nerdy stuff? Maybe anything general or specific? He says, because I got really into D&D, anime, etc. because of X, Y, and Z.
All right, yeah. So, Matt, go ahead and start us off with this one.
Well, video game wise, it started from the NES era, really. I used to watch my uncle, in particular, play old school Super Mario, and eventually Star Fox 64 was a big thing of his for a while once we got up to that age. So I've been into video games for a while, but didn't really get into them super hard until, I want to say, late middle school. Because I didn't own a console for a while.
Point, yeah. So what was it in middle school that got you really into it?
I guess we had a GameCube at home. We finally had our first actual console since the original NES. So my brother and I would play Super Smash Brothers all the time. I used to play PS1 a lot over at different friends' houses or N64, things like that. Like Twisted Metal was my jam
Nice.
back as a kid.
Yeah.
It shouldn't have been because that's a gory-ass game. But as far as
yeah.
nerd stuff in general, actually I didn't get into anime really hard until right out of high school. Which is probably weird coming from me. But in high school, I'd seen the basic stuff like Toonami, Adult Swim, all that.
Right.
But I don't know. And I played Magic and stuff throughout high school, so I guess the late middle school to end of high school era is sort of where it really picked up for me.
Gotcha.
So for me, it was kind of twofold. When it came to games, the NES and playing Zork on the computer. Those were the two things that really turned on kind of my gamer side, my nerd side. But I was reading comics in kindergarten. I mean, we'd always go to the bookmobile. We'd go. My dad would take me to, like, the comic store, take me to, like, the grocery store. Even they had comics out, back then. And I picked the first comic that I picked up was an X-Men comic. Oddly enough, was the first comic that I picked up and read. And I started getting into it, and that's when I started kind of like asking my dad about it because my dad had a lot of knowledge about it, and so that's when I started to understand. Oh, there's DC and there's Marvel, and there's like you look at Silver Age, you look at Golden Age, some of them were turn of the century stuff.
Yeah,
and I think that my dad fostering my love for that for reading through comics was a huge turning point for me. So.
Nice. So for mine, I remember like my defining moment pretty clearly. It was like mid-ish 90s, and it was Warcraft. And it was one of those, there was no like really kind of built-in multiplayer or anything like that. So it was, you had to go in, you had to configure the modem, who was dialing, who was receiving, you had to set the baud rate, you had to do all that. And again, like my dad, God bless my dad was a geek and everything, so he really did kind of walk me through a lot of like how to configure all that and everything, kind of showed me what to do. But I mean, I remember, like, with his help getting all this stuff configured and set up, and then all of a sudden I was playing over the internet multiplayer with a friend on the other side of the city.
Oh, yeah.
And that was just like in the mid 90s. That was just like a clicking point. I was like, "Holy shit!"
The light bulb lit up.
Like, yeah, this is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And that was definitely my turning point. That was definitely where I was like, computers are fucking awesome. You can do anything with them. Like,
Yeah.
Fuck yes.
Good question. Thanks to give a shout out to everyone, Abe, Nate, everyone that sent us questions.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So. Really exciting stuff. I do want to say that we have a very special guest next week, Otis Frampton. Definitely suggest checking him out. He does a couple of different things. He does all the backgrounds for How It Should Have Ended, which is a really great YouTube show.
Check that out.
Check it out for sure. Yeah. One of my favorite things that he does is ABCDEF Geek. Check it out. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
He does some really cool stuff.
And then he
Beautiful
does
illustrations.
Oddly Normal.
Yes, and he does, which I read to my daughter. It's a great intro comic for kids.
Oh, it's great.
A wonderful story. Beautiful artwork. Otis does an amazing job. So we're actually going to have Otis Frampton on the show next week, so stay tuned for that. Be sure to listen in, and we'll do a short interview with him, and we'll have some questions and stuff. So really excited to have Otis on the show.
And again, on that note, if you have any questions you would like us to ask Otis, hit us up.
Yeah. And the kind of what I was getting to. So, yeah, hit us up if you have any just questions for us, or if you want us to ask anything for Otis, or anything in general. Check us out on Facebook and Twitter at Duly Nerded. Also visit our website, www.duly-nerded.com. Check out some really cool blogs. Anthony and Matt both posted some news stories up there, which are really, really great. Highly suggest checking them out. We'll have more to come up in the weekend. Don't forget to visit us on YouTube as well. We have second episode of Duly Nerded Esports talking about LCS semifinals, which got to kick off on today. Really, really fun to do. So check that out if you're into League of Legends, any kind of esport competitive stuff. Check us out on YouTube at Duly Nerded. You can pull us up in the search bar. And I want to thank you guys for listening in. We're signing off.
See you next week.